In the year 1952, veteran freedom fighter Shri Sakal Chand Patel established Nutan Sarva Vidyalaya Kelavani Mandal in Visnagar, Gujarat, with the aim to strengthen the pillars of education in the life of every student belonging to North Gujarat region. With the aim of visionary Shri Sakal Chand Patel to make Nutan Sarva Vidyalaya Kelavani Mandal the hub center of multidisciplinary education in the region. Sakal Chand Patel University was established under Gujarat Private University Amendment Act No. 9 of 2016. Sakal Chand Patel University also recognized by the University Grant Commission under Section 2F of the UGC Act 1956.
The aim of Sri Sakal Chand Patel was to reach out to maximum students through excellent and quality education. Sakal Chand Patel University was established to take this mission to all new heights.
50 acres of sprawling campus, dotted with trees and lawn every day, see thousands of students fulfilling their cherished dreams. The professors here help the students to enable excellence by nurturing and guiding them to follow their dreams of bright future. The holistic curriculum of the university ensures that every student can get the desired education with satisfaction, guidance, and facilities. Sakal Chand Patel University includes various technical courses like BTech, MTech, Diploma Engineering, BCA, and MCA, and various medical and paramedical courses like MBBS, BDS, MDS, BPharm, MPharm, BSc Nursing, MSc Nursing, ANM, GNM, and BPT. The university also offers management, science and humanities courses like BBA, MBA, BSc, MSc, BCom, MCom, fashion designing, and PhD.
On behalf of Sakal Chand Patel University, we welcome national and international students for brighter tomorrow. Every individual who enters Sakal Chand Patel University just as a student exits as an intellectual human capital of nation who is readily employable anywhere in the world.
We are growing leaps and bounds within just short span of its formation. Sakal Chand Patel University is ranked among the top 20 universities rated by GSIRF among 76 universities in Gujarat. Also, Sakal Chand Patel University is the only private university in North Gujarat that offers medical, paramedical, technical, management, science and humanities courses in a single place. Sakal Chand Patel University has made a Guinness World Record of dental health checkup of 14,978 people at a single time. University also runs a Gujarat government-granted student startup and innovation policy cell, where university helps their students' innovative ideas to grow as a successful startup. University facilitates regarding research, patent, and also has MOUs with top universities and research institutes of the world. The university has an excellent library where students can find resources and enrich their knowledge to achieve their goals. The campus also includes ground for activities like cricket, volleyball, basketball and football, including indoor games like table tennis and badminton. With all these, we believe that extracurricular activities add to the personality of students. Our students organized and arranged cultural and traditional events such as Udaan and Thanganat every year. After graduating from the university, students have various career options, including placement in reputed companies with the help of our in-campus placement cell. The only university in Gujarat that is rapidly growing over time with rapidly changing times, Sakal Chand Patel University.
Good morning all. We are here today to celebrate the birth anniversary of the father of Indian engineering Bharat Ratna, Sir Moksha Gandham Visvesvaraya. He is also known as the Engineers Day in India to mark the impact made by Sir MV. Let us start our celebration by seeking blessing from Almighty, who is a sole architect and engineer of this world.
शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपो हरतु मे पापम् सन्ध्यादीपनमोऽस्तु ते ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः आरोग्यं देहि पुत्रांश्च मतिं स्वच्छां हि मे सदा रवेरस्तं समारभ्य यावत् सूर्योदयो भवेत् रवेरस्तं समारभ्य यावत् सूर्योदयो भवेत् यस्य तिष्ठे गृहे दीपः तस्य नास्ति दरिद्रता शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
Thank you, Hitesh bhai. Let me begin with the Engineers Day celebration by a welcome speech from our Honorable Provost, Professor Dr. V.K. Srivastava, sir. Sir, please.
Good morning to one and all. Honorable President of Sankalchand Patel University, Shri Prakash Bhai Patel. Today's speaker, Dr. Sudarshan Kumar, Professor and Head, Department of Aerospace Engineering, IIT Mumbai. Mr. Jay Rupare, co-founder and director, Azure Knowledge Corporation and Vice Plug USA. Our Director of Technical Courses, Dr. DJ Shah. Our Principal of Polytechnic College, Dr. S.K. Patel. And all the audience who are attending this Engineers Day celebration. On behalf of Sankalchand Patel University and on my own behalf, I welcome you all. The Engineers Day in India is celebrated to appreciate the contribution of Moksha Gundam Vishwesvaraya, who was born on September 15, and he was also awarded with Bharat Ratna. We are celebrating his birthday in form of Engineers Day. From the invention of wheel in ancient history to the modern days drones, engineering construct have provided the vital push for the progress of human technology. Taking note of how important engineers are for the growth of nation, countries around the world celebrate Engineers Day. Engineering is a profession where our figment of imagination gets converted into reality with the help of science and technology. Today, an engineer is someone who creates, innovates, invents, dreams, solves problems, tests, and researches, all combined into one.
But research component is still not sufficient. That is why young graduates, engineers needs to come forward for dedicated research which is based on need of our nation India to make India self-reliant. Technology needs to be developed for mankind and also technology needs to be developed for resurgence. We as Sakal Chand Patel University need to prepare industry ready engineers by capacity building of next generation so that our engineers are readily employable anywhere in the world. For quality research in engineering and technology, a strong collaboration among engineering institutions, industries, research organizations, and government is required. More number of hackathons needs to be organized to ignite, develop, and prosper the young minds of engineers. I will conclude with beautiful quote by our past president, Dr. Abdul Kalam sir. Waves are my inspiration, not because they rise and fall, but whenever they fall, they rise again. Once again, I convey my best wishes for the successful completion of this webinar. Thank you very much. Astu Vande Mataram. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Jai Gadvi Gujarat.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for a nice starting speech. Now I request our Honorable President, Sri Prakash Bhai Patel, for his presidential remark on the day of Engineers Day. Please, sir.
Good morning, DJ, and good morning, one and all present here on this occasion of Engineers Day. Today, we are celebrating Engineers Day with a mark of the birth anniversary of Sir Moksha Gandham Vishwaraya, who is also popularly known as Sir MV. Engineers Day is observed on this day because Sir MV was literally the builder of India, the builder of dams and water system in India. His work not only boosted the irrigation facility in India, but also saved a huge number of people from the floods. Sir MV is an engineering pioneer of India, and his genius approach is reflected in the harnessing the water resources and building and consolidation of dam all across the country. Let me take this opportunity to share some of his achievement on this occasion. Sir MV was the chief engineer involved in the construction of the Krishna Raja Sagar Dam in Mysore, the biggest dam of Asia at that time. In the year 1999, when the city of Hyderabad was in extreme danger of flood, Sir Visvesvaraya was then appointed as the special consulting engineer to make the Hyderabad city flood-proof. His excellent engineering work saved the Visakhapatnam port for sea erosion. Sir MV also invented the block system, automated doors that close the water overflows. He designed the floodgates, which were first installed at the Khadavasla Reservoir in Pune in 1903. Government Engineering College, Bengaluru was also established by Sir MV, which was later named the University Visvesvaraya College of Engineering in his honor. In 1955, he was awarded with Bharat Ratna for his outstanding contribution in the building of India. He was also awarded with the British knighthood by King George V, which gives the honor Sir before his name. Being an engineer, with this, I wish all engineers to be an engineer and a very happy Engineers Day, and wish that you all will do best with your engineering knowledge and skill to make our India the self-reliant India. And as per the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Bhai Modi, let's begin vocal for local for our nation. At the end, I wish all of you very happy Engineers Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President sir, for your inspirational speech and enlightening us with the achievements of Sir MV. Let me give some more insight that Engineers Day is celebrated again as to feel proud about our engineers. to celebrate their achievements in each and every field of science and technology. In the economic progress and development of the country, engineers play a very crucial role and their contribution. The day is devoted to celebrate the past accomplishment of our engineers and to glorify the future trends in engineering. The day shows significance and importance of engineers at every step of our daily life. We at Sakarchand Patel University has defined the theme as for this Engineer Day as Engineers for Self-Reliant India. Recently, during the pandemic situation, our Honorable Prime Minister made a call to make our India as Atmanirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant India. We emphasize on this Engineers Day. Everything is online these days, including online transactions, online learning, online businesses, and many more activities. And all these are made possible by active contribution from engineers. Engineers are coming up with innovative ideas, products, and services on day by day. Not only that, they are also bringing the simplicity to many of the complex processes and problems that we face our daily life. This is only possible because of our supremely talented engineers. We believe that engineers are going to be the biggest contributor to make our India self-reliant India. I would like the quote by one of an American professor in biochemistry, Isaac Mosiv, that science can amuse and fascinate all of us, but it is engineering that changes the world. Today, we have two young engineers from India who has marked their presence at different parts of the world, who are going to give us more insight about role of engineers in self-reliant India with their own perspective. Let me invite our first speaker of the day, Dr. Sudarshan Kumar, who is head of Aerospace Engineering Department at prestigious Indian Institute of Technology, Mumbai, more known as IIT-B. He has been awarded as IIT Bombay Young Investigator Award for the year 2011, INAE Young Engineer Award in the same year. He has been awarded first prize by the Safran French Embassy for the best PhD thesis in aerospace engineering in 2007. He is also recipient of the Bernard Lewis Fellowship in 2002. I welcome Dr. Sudarshan Kumar to deliver his speech.
Morning, everyone. I'm thankful to the authorities of Sankalchand Patel University to invite me to talk today on the occasion of Engineers Day, which is celebrated on the birth anniversary of Sir M. Visvesvaraya, with a title Engineers for a Self-Reliance India. And I'm going to discuss more specifically what are the challenges for aerospace engineers in futures to make this country as a self-reliant country. The Engineers Day is celebrated in the memory of Sir M. Visvesvaraya. One of his quotes is that scientists dream about doing great things, but it's the engineers who do them. It's the engineers who build them. It's the engineers who make it work. So who was Sir M. Visvesvaraya? He was the great engineer born on 15th September 1860 in Karnataka. He earned his civil engineering degree from COEP Pune in 1883. Subsequently, he worked as an assistant engineer in Bombay, chief engineer in Hyderabad, Mysore, Diwan of Mysore, and had many more positions of responsibility towards the society. He designed the flood protection and drainage system in Hyderabad, as well as he did the remodeling of the Hyderabad city. He worked on the KRS Dam in Mysore, which irrigates 20,000 acres of land. He also designed and built the Brindavan Gardens in Mysore, which is just in the downstream of the KRS Dam. He also built the Bhadravati Iron and Steel Works factory, and also made many, many more contributions towards the progress of this country. Now, coming towards aerospace engineering. What I'm going to talk about is that what is the current status, and as engineers, what we need to do in the future. So I will divide the whole of the aerospace engineering into 4 specific branches. One of them is space propulsion or launch vehicles, that is designing and building rockets to put satellites into space or sending the interplanetary moon missions and so on. The second part is passenger aircrafts and related areas. The third is the military aircrafts or fighter aircrafts, and fourth one is the missile development. Basically, the first two are related to the civilian category and the second two in the defense field. Let us start with the first field. What we have is the rocket propulsion. So what are the current status and challenges? In launch vehicles, if we look at our current scenario, these launch vehicles or the rockets which launch the satellites into the orbit consists of the different stages based on solid rockets, liquid rockets, and cryogenic rockets. Now, India started working on this way back when Dr. Vikram Sarabhai had a vision and he started the research into the rocket engineering way back in 1969 in Thiruvananthapuram, and today that station is known as Dr. Vikram Sarabhai Space Center. Now, today we are nearly self-reliant in this field, all due to the efforts of our scientists and engineers since last 50 years. But what is the future? So today we launch a rocket with multiple stages like GSLV, PSLV, and so on. But in future, can we develop reusable vehicles? Like we have aeroplane, we use it for so many flights. Similarly, can we design a rocket which can be used again and again? Then can we design and build single or two-stage rockets to the orbit to put the satellites in the orbit? Then human missions to Moon and Mars, space tourism, which has a greater challenges as well as increased scope for business. Now, can engineers take up these challenges and develop the future technologies? To just give you one of the examples, it costs around $10,000 to transport 1 liter water bottle to the space station. Can we as engineers work in a way that we reduce this cost from $10,000 to $1,000 or $100? If we can propose the new technologies, or if we can build those new technologies, we have a lot of scope for business, for making this country as number one. There are many new fields which are emerging, such as nanosatellites. For launching those nanosatellites, for controlling those satellites, we would need micro and nano rockets. New concepts of propulsion for these micro and nano rockets. Then green and environmental friendly propellants. Like currently, we use the chemicals which are highly toxic and carcinogenic. People who handle these chemicals are often exposed to these propellants, and there is a chance of them contacting the vapors of these chemicals and leading to catastrophe. Therefore, can we work towards developing environmental friendly propellants which are easy to handle and hence make our life easier? So these are some of the challenges in the field of rocket propulsion. Next, let me come to civilian transport. If you look into the civilian transport, for the larger aircrafts which fly, say, from India to Europe, US, Australia, currently both Boeing and Airbus are the two major companies who supply the larger aeroplanes to all the airlines. For smaller airplanes varying from say 5-seater to say 80 to 90 or 100 seaters, there are many companies like Bombardier, Cessna, Beechcraft, Embraer, ATR, and so on. Now, India is expected to become the third largest air passenger market by 2024, another 4 years. So what it means is we would need more and more aeroplanes to be bought. And this demand for newer and newer aeroplanes is going to increase as we are a country of 1.35 billion people. The travel market is expected to grow 3 to 5% every year. So there are challenges to manufacture newer aeroplanes to serve the increased demand. Maintenance of these aeroplanes for the operations day and night. We need personnel giving services to the airline companies, cargo operations, and many others. So can we target to become self-reliant in supplying new aeroplanes, their repair, their maintenance, and all allied services? These are some of the challenges in the civilian market. Coming into the defense sector, the fighter aircrafts and the helicopters. There are of course many more, but I would restrict to the fighter aircrafts and helicopters. Now, what is the Indian experience in developing the fighter aircrafts? HF-24 Marut, a fighter aircraft, was developed by HAL in 1961. It was given the final operational clearance in 1967, and this aircraft was used extensively in 1971 war. However, this program was discontinued for reasons known only to select few. And there's no other program of designing a fighter aircraft till 1983, when the government cleared the LCA Tejas program to replace MiG-21 aircrafts. It took nearly 20 years for the first flight of LCA to occur. Now, what was the reason? The reason was the design engineers who were working in the field, who continuously had the expertise, slowly they were lost from the scene, and by the time LCA project was cleared in 1983, there were no engineers. There were scientists, there were professors, but there were no engineers. So it took a long time for the new breed of engineers to come to the senses that how to basically design an engineering system called a fighter aircraft and make it fly. It took 20 years to that. However, once the technique is learned, once the database for design was learned, this base of LCA Tejas helped quickly develop the naval version of the LCA, MCA, which is multi-role combat aircraft, and trainer aircrafts at a much faster rate. So basically, we need investment to continue to have the expertise in the field. We also need to bring in the quality, better management, and cost reduction in the manufacturing of these aircrafts. If I just give you an example, we are importing Sukhoi aircrafts from Russia. Some aircrafts are built in Russia and imported. Others are being built in India through HAL and other companies. But our quality management and the production facilities are not world class. We need the facilities and the engineers to be of the caliber that we must produce these aircrafts at say half of the cost of what Russia is producing. If we can do that, then we can get much bigger contracts to produce these aircrafts at a much cheaper rate, and then exist the scope for exports and further newer innovations in the field. Similar scope exists for the helicopters, and many more avenues need to be explored. Now let me come to the missiles. Many missiles have been developed and deployed during last 20 years. Some of the examples are Prithvi missile, Agni, Akash, Nag, Nirbhaya, BrahMos. And then our engineers and scientists, they have also developed anti-missile shield. Now, what is the future for this? We need to look at improved response, better performance, better propellants, and of course, better operational reliability of these systems. I would like to talk about, you must have seen this news recently, hypersonic technology demonstrator vehicle. This project was started sometime in 2000. It's nearly 20 years that our scientists and engineers in DRDO have been working on this. And this system was successfully tested a week ago. What was the highlight of this system was that it flies at 2 km per second with kerosene as a fuel. And typical altitude where it is supposed to fly is between 15 to 25 kilometers. Now, what does this mean from the operational perspective? It means that if it's a missile, it can hit Beijing in less than 30 minutes, and it can hit Islamabad in less than 3 minutes. Means there is no time to respond back. And it is not a typical projectile trajectory that one can easily detect such hypersonic air-breathing missiles. Now, what is the importance of this technology is that we are the second nation in the world after USA to demonstrate this successfully with kerosene fuel. Although Australia, China, Russia, they have demonstrated it with hydrogen fuel. Of course, our ISRO has also demonstrated with hydrogen fuel, I guess 5-6 years ago. But what is critical over here is that making it work with kerosene fuel is something really special and different. Now, there are many future challenges to this technology, that this is just a technology demonstrator, which was flown just for 24 seconds. Now, can we make it work for, say, half an hour or 1 hour duration? And then will come into picture the applications of this technology to civilian use, defense use, for missiles, space propulsion, single stage to orbit, 2 stage to orbit, and so on. But this is the technology which has the biggest of the challenges. Now, what are the challenges here is that the vehicle is flying so fast that controlling it is the biggest challenge. Making the engine to work at those speeds is the biggest challenge. So these are some of the challenges to the engineers which I have mentioned, which can make this country again a leader in the field of the aeronautical aerospace engineering. With this, I would like to say thank you, everyone. It was nice to talk to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sudarshan, for your insight on requirement of engineers towards self-reliance in the field of defense and aerospace. Friends, let me bring to your knowledge that aerospace engineering is nothing but it's a confluence of various engineering disciplines like mechanical engineering, electrical, civil, electronics, computers, and everyone has to play their role in a big way to make the aerospace industry as a success. Now, We have another speaker for today, Mr. Jay Ruparel, co-founder and director of Azure Knowledge Corporation, and also founder of a startup called VoicePlug. He has been instrumental in playing a different role at a different position, but under his leadership, the Azure was ranked up among the 500 fastest growing companies in USA by Inc. magazine. Azure was also among the top 100 on Deloitte Fast 100 Companies of America in 2018 and 19 under his guidance and leadership. He has been awarded the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year award in 2017. He has worked in Infosys, Bell Labs in Boston before starting his entrepreneurial journey. He has been on the boards of so many organizations and also chaired Asia, CII Young Indians, CII Gujarat IT Committee, and many more. Let me invite him to share his thoughts on Engineers Day for his talk on Engineers for Self-Reliant India. Jai, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to the students and all of you on Engineers Day. So respected dignitaries from SP University, faculty members joining the session, dear students, fellow engineers and friends. First of all, happy Engineers Day to all of you. As you know, we celebrate this day as a tribute to the contributions of the great M. Visvesvaraya, who was awarded India's highest civilian honor, the Bharat Ratna. Well, you may perhaps not know that this day is also celebrated as Engineers Day, not just in India, but also in countries like Sri Lanka and Tanzania in his honor. Well, this is a day for all of us to take pride on being an engineer, or in your case, the student's case, a would-be engineer. But you know, all of us engineers have a significant role in shaping the future of our society, our country, and the world. I'm sure all of you have heard of the Prime Minister's call to build Atmanirbhar Bharat, or self-reliant India. So as engineers, what role can we play to make that dream of self-reliant India possible? Well, I have worked in the industry for about 23 years after finishing my engineering in electronics and communication, and have been an employee as well as an employer, both. And I've worked in India's Silicon Valley, which is in Bangalore, and in the Silicon Valley in the US, which is in the San Francisco Bay Area. And so based on some of my learnings and observations over the years, I would like to share with you some thoughts and some industry trends, which I think may help you play your role in building a self-reliant India. So let me start off by sharing 3 key observations that I have, right, which may be helpful to you. My first observation is the blurring of divisions between the different engineering disciplines. Friends, today, you know, industry demands that we bring together various engineering disciplines, whether it is electronics, mechanical, computer, instrumentation. There are so many different types of activities in the industry that just don't demand you to be narrowly focused as an engineer in one discipline. To give you an example, Tesla, which is the largest automobile company in the world based on market cap, as you would know, hires more computer, electronics, and electrical engineers than automobile or mechanical engineers, right? No one would have thought of an automobile company hiring engineers from so many other disciplines, right? Google hires thousands of people from the healthcare industry, having, you know, healthcare professionals, having healthcare background. So today's product demands professionals from various disciplines coming together to build something unique. And it is important for you, while you specialize in a certain engineering discipline, to also have a cross-discipline experience and understanding. And you know, if you are an aspiring mechanical engineer, for you to understand, you know, a little bit about computers and electronics, if you're an electronics engineer, to be able to appreciate the mechanics, because all these are, you know, intertwined and interrelated, as you will see when you step out in the industry. The other observation I wanted to share with you is that learnability is becoming more important than knowledge. In other words, your ability to learn something new is more important than what you already know. And this is increasingly being used by companies today in the industry, whether it is in India, US, or anywhere in the world, when hiring engineers or when hiring new talent. For example, some of the leading companies, I'm talking about really large global companies, when hiring engineers, ask them to solve a puzzle or ask them logical questions or questions that basically test their analytical skills, not necessarily asking them any questions about what they have done in engineering school or college. And the reason they do that is because they want to test what is your ability to learn new things. So they don't even want to know the answer when they ask you these questions. They are just looking at how are you going about solving something that is put in front of you. What are your problem learning skills? What is your ability to learn from others in the industry? These are very important skills than just knowing what you've already learned. The third observation I wanted to share with you is about hands-on experience or practical experience. This is getting more and more important. It was always important, even when we passed out of engineering school almost more than 2 decades ago. Practical experience was important, but it has become even more important now. Just to give you an example, when I hire people in my company and we take interviews, we are not looking at what have been your grades in in your engineering days, or what have been how have you done in terms of your rank. Those are important factors, but more important is what are some of the projects that you have done, right? What is your hands-on experience? And looking at the projects in terms of what have been some of the challenges that you have faced on those projects? What was your role in the team? How did you go about overcoming some of the difficulties? Those are important traits. And friends, if you really look at it, all of us, to take an example from the movie 3 Idiots, which I'm sure all of you have seen, all of us have that rancho within us that is trying to build something that is practical, that strives for excellence. But then there is also in a corner of us, there is a Viru Sahasrabuddhi who is trying to silence us and look at focusing only on results. And we need to recognize that this practical orientation that is our inner calling is the thing that is really going to take us far, and not just focusing on academic results. So having said this, these are some of the observations I wanted to share. What are some of the industry trends that one sees today in the industry, and not just for engineers today, but I believe these are some important trends that as you step out in the industry for the next 5 to 10 years, you will continue to see it being important. The first is artificial intelligence. I'm sure all of you know about artificial intelligence. Probably you have used artificial intelligence in different ways. So for example, when you are looking at a system that recognizes auto identification of objects in a video, some of you use Google Photos, right? So when Google Photos, you tag someone, right, to say this is my mother, or this is my father, or this is my friend. And Google is able to recognize the other photos based on what you have tagged. That is a little bit of play of artificial intelligence. And some of you who speak to, say, a Alexa or a Google Action or a Siri on your phone, you basically use natural language processing, which is a component of artificial intelligence, as you interact with these devices and these assistants. So we have kind of touched I would say just the surface, the tip of the iceberg of what artificial intelligence has to offer. Artificial intelligence is just not a new technology or something that will come and go. Artificial intelligence is a complete paradigm shift in the way computing is going to happen. And the way artificial intelligence applications are being built and used in the industry is growing exponentially. I can almost bet that 10 years from now, there won't be a single computing component that may not have some form of an AI built into it, right? And hence, it is important to be able to understand and be a part of this huge revolution that is taking place through AI, right? So AI, I think it's there, but I think the scale at which AI will pervade over the next 5 to 10 years is going to be humongous. The second trend that I want to talk about is edge computing. So all of us, all of you, I'm sure, are familiar with cloud computing. Cloud computing has exponentially grown over the last, I would say, 10 to 12 years. The importance of being able to use cloud-based services, storage, compute, almost all components you can think of today, you can use some form of a cloud-based, service to execute that. But if you look at the trend that is coming up now, partly because there is concern around privacy, and there's also concern about latency when you interact with the cloud. There is a requirement from the industry that is causing leading technology people to think of computing at the edge. And computing at the edge means devices and edge, different types of edge devices, not just end user devices, but different types of edge devices to have some form of a computing capability, so that you don't need to have the data go to the cloud, and you can also have much faster response time. And with the coming up of 5G, again, edge computing is going to have a big leap. So this is something that you should keep yourself abreast of, because clearly a few years down the line, we will have a very healthy mix of services, applications that are partly using edge computing where required, and only for specific cases where they really need to go to the cloud, they will use cloud services. The third trend I want to talk about is Internet of Things. And Internet of Things has been there for a few years. But if you really look at the evolution of Internet of Things, right, and the promise that Internet of Things has, it has been a relatively slow start, but something that is going to rapidly grow over the next 3 to 5 years. And the two contributing factors to that are 5G. As you know, 5G networks are being laid all over the world. In a few months, we will have 5G services being rolled out by various providers, and of course edge computing, which we talked about. Both of these make large-scale IoT deployment possible. So whether it is energy, power, logistics, smart cities, we will see a lot of these self-governed systems, devices talking to other devices, like peer-to-peer, and and being able to communicate with each other seamlessly and continuously. A good example of this is a service called Amazon Go, which Amazon launched, and I'm sure there will be an equivalent of that in India very soon, right? One of you will probably build something like that. Amazon Go, works in a way which is a good use of the basics of IoT coming to life. So how does Amazon Go work? You have an app, right? An Amazon Go app. So when you enter a store, which is an Amazon Go store, you basically just use the QR code on your app to have the doors open for you, right? And as you go in the store, you can start picking up items. There is no one in the store. You pick up items. As the items are being picked, the IoT devices there, different forms of sensors, different forms of compute devices are capturing what you are picking up. And if you pick up something and place it back on the shelf, that is also being captured. So essentially, you can pick up items that you like, and then once you have finished your shopping, you basically just exit the store. And you don't need to do anything else. You don't need to go to a billing counter or anything else. Through the help of these different connected IoT devices, the system is able to compute your bill based on the items that you picked up, and within a few minutes that you exit from the store, you get a bill or an invoice which says that this is what you are charged for, and then your credit card will be debited for that account. right? And there are many applications of IoT that one can have, but this is something that is already live, and I thought it would be good for you to know about it. Well, the other trend, a bit related but still different, is the concept of intelligent transportation. So autonomous vehicles, and autonomous vehicles have been tested for the last few years. There have been various levels of testing that has been happening, and in the US we often see autonomous vehicles moving around the streets and capturing a large scale mapping data. Now, what is going to change with this is that we have something called V2X technology, which is vehicle to everything. That means the vehicle will communicate with the roads, with the road signs, with the milestones, with other vehicles. And through that communication, we'll be able to not only build an autonomous driving experience, a fully autonomous driving experience, but we'll also be able to build something that is much richer in terms of the experience of the rider when sitting in an autonomous vehicle. So I had a first-hand experience of sitting in an autonomous vehicle early this year when I was out at a conference, and it was a surreal experience because you still have a driver there, because you need, as per regulations, you need to have someone there, but the driver is not holding the steering wheel. So essentially, you are being driven by a vehicle while you are sitting behind, and it takes you on the right path. It stops at the stop sign. It will wait for the vehicle in front of you to move forward, and it is a totally surreal experience. And we are going to see a lot more of that, over the years to come. So I think intelligent transportation is a very important trend that is going to, again, grow as we see in the coming years. The other trend I want to talk about is quantum computing. Quantum computing, as you know, is based on quantum theory. A large part of the early years of quantum computing, the usage was mostly in academics and research. But now there are several industry applications where quantum computing is used, and part of it is because it is exponentially faster than classical computing, which we use on a day-to-day basis. And quantum computing is definitely something to watch for, especially because of the widespread use of AI-based applications and deep learning, which is a component of AI. Applications that need a lot of computing power. We'll see a lot more richer applications, especially in certain domains. The other interesting trend is around robotics and human augmentation. So when we talk about robotics, normally a physical robot comes to our mind, right? And we have seen some of the robots work in the industry, like, for example, robots that help you to move goods, or robots that will help you to sort out items in the factory. But now we see a lot of soft robots, not just hard robots. So let me give you an example. Let's say I want to apply, I'm working in a company, I want to apply for leave. Now when I want to apply for leave, I will prepare an application and send it to my manager for approval. Now the manager will look at the application, will look at my leave balance, and then based on certain policies of the company, will make a decision and either approve or disapprove the leave, or may ask me questions. And when the leave is approved or disapproved, then it goes to the HR department, which then basically adjusts my leave balance, and it then goes to the HR management system that flows into the salary. Now a process like this is generally a combination of human effort and some HR management system that is being used in companies. Now, if you look at a process like this, and a lot of companies have already shifted to what is called robotic process automation, RPA, where in the case of this, if I have a soft robot, right, a software-based robot, I can basically send my application to this bot. The bot, because it follows certain rules, is able to make a decision whether this should be approved or not, right? If it needs to have an escalation, it will go to the manager. Otherwise, it can handle some of the basic decisions on its own, can then send it to the HR, HR as a next step. Again, that step can be automated by the bot making certain decisions in terms of adjusting the leave balance or the salary and so on. So a lot of the processes within organizations are now being handled by software-based bots. And this is giving rise to a new form of automation. In fact, human augmentation, that term or that technology, as some people call it, is basically bots working hand to hand with humans so that we can focus on higher levels of work. So a lot of people, sometimes ignorantly ask this question, whether will bots replace the humans? This robotics is growing. Will humans lose their jobs? So that there are different people who have different views on that, of course. But if I look at it largely, what has been happening and will continue to happen is that the bots will take on a lot of the predictable, manual, laborious jobs, allowing humans to work hand in hand, side to side with robots, so that they can concentrate on higher level tasks, right? And that's truly what is human augmentation. Basically, bots augmenting our capabilities to be better humans, both physically and intellectually. The other trend that I wanted to briefly talk about is, broadly what is called mixed reality. But we have heard of terms like augmented reality, virtual reality, and again, some of these technologies have been around for some time. But there is always an inflection point after which the technology really starts scaling up into several application areas. I think augmented reality, virtual reality is getting into that inflection point now, where we are seeing applications on a wide scale, especially for augmented reality. Virtual reality has been mostly used for games and entertainment purposes, but augmented reality, we see a lot of industrial applications. Again, I'll talk about one of the applications that I saw recently at a conference, where you can actually, as you are visiting a factory floor, you are wearing augmented reality glasses that allow you, as you are seeing the machine on a factory floor, you can see the readings of that machine in the peripheral vision, right? So you're standing in front of a power plant, and you are looking at some component of the plant, and as you are reading the component, you can actually see, as you are looking at the component, you can see the readings, the data, the real-time data corresponding to that piece that you're looking at on your peripheral vision, on the glass, augmented reality glass. Similarly, let's say when interviewing people, right? You can actually, a lot of times when we interview people, we look at the person and then we look at the resume of the person, and you lose eye contact. Now you can actually be looking at the resume in that peripheral vision glass as you are speaking to the candidate face to face, and you don't need to take your eyes off the candidate, right? So there's so many wonderful applications that one can have with augmented reality and mixed reality in general. So friends, I'm talking about some of these industry trends because we are all living in a very exciting time. And I think I am actually very excited that as an engineer, right, this is perhaps such a great opportunity for all of us, right, who love engineering as a discipline, right, who love to build things, design things, and use it for the benefit of a larger group. This is, there has never been in the history, of engineering, so many variety of opportunities, application areas, technologies that have all coming in together. And, people talk about that, change is a constant phenomenon. The rate of change, there is an acceleration in terms of, how fast change is happening. I would say even the rate of acceleration that we are seeing today is at a different level, right? And whatever you are seeing happen in the last 6 months never happened in the previous 2 years, and whatever you saw happen in the previous 2 years has not happened in the previous 5 years, right? So we are seeing that rapid change and evolution, and it is a great opportunity for us, especially when looking at our country, where there are so many opportunities and so many problems that need to be solved, right? I think we can play a really significant role. And I believe as a nation, we have tremendous engineering talent, right? It's needless to say, if you look at all the top companies, you know, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, all these global tech, Apple, or look at the top 100 technology companies in the world, the percentage of Indian engineers that are employed by these companies, by far, as compared to any other culture, any other country, the percentage of Indian engineers is the highest, right? So there is no doubt, and there's a lot of respect for Indian engineers and Indian engineering talent. So there is no doubt that we have that prowess of really good engineering mind and talent. But if you really ask how many good examples of companies that have built products, technology products, engineering products, right, which are world class, or which have been used even within India on a large scale, there are very few examples that we get, right? And while we like products that emerge from other countries, it is time to look at, when we have such great engineering talent, why can't we build some of the best products that India can offer, not only for itself but to the world as well? So there are 2 points that I would like you to consider, right? And then I would like to wrap up my talk. First, I believe for a self-reliant India, the way to build a self-reliant India is by engineers turned entrepreneurs. India is such a huge market. Everyone wants to come to India. Companies, in other parts of the world are dying to come to India because the growth rate that India offers, right, as an opportunity is humongous. The huge market that it has is humongous. We have a huge market, right, for if we build a products for India. We also have great amount of talent. So the market is there, the supply is there to be able to build the products. What we need is the will and the persistence. The will to build something which is of our own passion, then something that is told by others, told by some company outside that we are being employed by, or some company within India that primarily works on outsourced projects, right? That is not something that is going to make us self-reliant. So we need that will to build something of our own, with our own passion, that addresses our own problems. Second, we need persistence. Building products and building world-class products does not happen easily. There will be trials and failures and iterations that we will have to go through. And there will be series of failures, but every failure is a step closer to success. And, one sees the large number of companies in US and other countries in the engineering and technology space that are successful, German engineering companies. But alongside these successful industries, there are dozens and hundreds of failed companies. But there is a very interesting statistic which I wanted to share with you. They say that more than 90% of the startups fail, right? They don't succeed. But the corollary to this is that 10% of the startups who succeed, 60% of those are people who have failed in their earlier startups and then got successful. So that shows that as you do it again and again and again, you're bound to succeed, right? So I think we need that persistence, right? The other thing about India is that if you look at some of the large technology companies, you look at Satya Nadella, starting from Bill Gates to Satya Nadella in Microsoft, or you look at Sundar Pichai, you look at Mark Zuckerberg, you look at Elon Musk. All of these are people who created very successful businesses, but themselves have been engineers. In India, unfortunately, we don't find a lot of examples of engineers who successfully run businesses. We find engineers mostly reporting to people who run businesses. And that is something that needs to change. And that can change if engineers take the step forward to become entrepreneurs. The second thought I wanted to share with you is about building an exponential rather than incremental mindset. And let me explain this through an example. Let's say on 1st of October, I give you 1 lakh rupees. And I tell you that here is 1 lakh rupees. And if you deposit it, it will also fetch you 12% annual interest rate, right? And I give you another choice. That here is a second proposal. Instead of the 1 lakh rupees, I will give you 1 rupee on October 1st. And every other day, I will give you double of what I gave you the previous day till 31st October, right? So first day I give you 1 rupee, the next day I'll give you 2 rupees, the third day I'll give you 4 rupees. But I will not give you, there's no interest on this. What approach would you like to choose? Now, intuitively, as engineers, and as most people, we think linearly. We are looking at a linear growth. So the first option looks very attractive. I'm getting 1 lakh rupees. What will I do with 1 rupee and 2 rupees and 4 rupees? But do you know, friends, the second option will give you what at the end of 31st October, it will give you 2 raised to the power 30, which is, more than 100 crore rupees at the end of the month, as compared to 1 lakh rupees and some interest over it. That is the difference that exponential calculation can give you. So we need to, when we are looking at problems, when we are looking at solving or doing something meaningful, right? We need to look at, can we think exponentially, not incrementally? There are a lot of people who are doing things incrementally, making a small shift, making a small change, which is good. But what India needs to really be self-reliant is people who are able to think exponentially and act exponentially. That can be game changer, right? It's not a small change, but it can be a major game changer in the way India can, solve a lot of its problems, right? So, I wanted to kind of leave with these two thoughts to you, and while you are in your engineering journey, and as you look at trends, as you look at some of these, learnings and observations, some of it which I have shared, some of it which you will learn, as you pursue your engineering journey, I hope that some of you will take the step forward and find a problem in India or find an opportunity in India that can be solved and that can create an exponential impact, right, for people. And you build the solution while working for yourself and contributing to the vision of a self-reliant India, and by doing this, inspiring many people like you. Because as I said, the way for India to be self-reliant is by engineers turning to entrepreneurs. And one thing I do want to tell you that at the end of the day, you need to have a lot of fun. Engineering is ultimately about having a lot of fun. And once an engineer, I always say, once an engineer, always an engineer. You cannot get the engineer out of a person who has become an engineer. That will always be there, right? With that, I want to wish you all the best. Thank you again for giving me the opportunity to address all of you. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you, Jay. It was really a nice presentation. And
Thank you.
yeah, I'd just like to sum up with your some of the codes that the trends that you discussed about the AI, edge computing, IoT, automated transport, vehicle-to-vehicle communication, robotic process automation, and at the end, the kind of a human augmentation that we are talking about. I'll be taking one reference with your last quote that yes, along with an engineering, we need to have a fun. So I'd like to put one thing here that apart from an entrepreneur, Jai is also a good, I think, actor. He played some good plays during his college. And I think he and and the kids also are like good dancers.
Yeah.
So I think that these things are very much clear that today, if we want to look for a self-reliant India, engineers have to turn up to be an entrepreneurs with the passion, will, and the persistence in their efforts. At the same time, building up an exponential mindset is a key. We have technology today available developed by the various researchers at the various places in the world. So I think if you quote Sir MB again here at the end, he rightly said that yes, researches are available, but it is a job of an engineers to do them. So let's do them and make this Engineers Day really a successful by making a self-reliant India. Towards the end, I would just like to put a final remarks from my side that as engineer, we are going to be in a position to change the world and not just to study it. Right? So at the end, I'll ask Dr. S.K. Patel sir to present a vote of thanks for this event.
Thank you, sir. Honorable, respected Shri Prakash Bhai Patel, sir, President of our own university and Chairman Nutan Sarva Vidyalaya Kedamani Mandal, Provost of our university, Dr. V.K. Srivastava, sir, and our most valued invited guest, Dr. Sudarshan Kumar and Mr. Jai Ruparel, Dr. DJ Shah, sir, Director, Technical and Dean of our Faculty of Engineering and Technology, our most valued invited participants, guests, my dear students, and my dear colleagues. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, on behalf of Faculty of Engineering and Technology, SPU, and the entire, let me call it, fraternity of engineering here together, and on my own behalf, extended a very hearty vote of thanks to all the invited guests for gracing your valuable, important presence and sharing with you your findings and expertise today. A big thank to you, to Dr. Sudarshan Kumar for his efforts towards his speech related to engineers for self-reliant India, Atmanirbhar Bharat. Thank you for exploring the opportunities for engineers in the defense sector, as well as what engineers can do for Atmanirbhar Bharat in the defense sector. We are all inspired by your great words. Thank you, sir. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to Mr. Jai Ruparel for his efforts toward his speech related to engineers for self-reliant India, Atmanirbhar Bharat. Thank you for exploring the opportunities for engineers of various disciplines like mechanical, electronics and communication, information and technology, computer science, engineering, for making India Atmanirbhar. And I also, as a part of our university, I also assure you, sir, to make more entrepreneurs, and we will try our level best to convert engineers to entrepreneur. Definitely, sir. Thank you. A big thank you to our own president, Sakarchand Patel University, for his constant encouragement and motivation for such type of event. And thank you for your spending valuable time. Thank you, sir. Further, I grateful to our provost, Dr. V.K. Srivastava, sir, for support and motivation. Thank you, sir. A big thank you to our dean, Faculty of Engineering and Technology, and Director Technical Dr. DJ Shah sir for constant encouragement and motivation for such type of event and play key role for Engineers Day celebration. Thank you very much, sir. I may like to express our sincere thanks to Dr. Hitesh Rawal and his team for giving an IT support. Thank you. At last but not least, I would like to thank all those who have contributed directly or indirectly to make these special day celebration successful. Thank you. Thank you one and all. Happy Engineers Day to all. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Jai, for being there at nearly a midnight.
No problem. My pleasure.
Thanks a lot. Okay.
Thank you.